Welcome back. Now, whilst many competent boaters have learnt from experience, some of you may have done or considered doing a recognised boating qualification. I'm here to meet John Embling, a CCBM examiner, to find out more. So John, I think a good place to start would be for us to learn a little bit more about community boating.
Community boating is all about people with special needs of one kind or another, any kind of special needs. And those needs can often be met by involving those people in the boating environment.
Right. So when we're looking at the CCBM, how does that get involved with all of this?
Well, the CCBM, the Certificate in Community Boat Management, is actually a skipper's ticket.
Right.
To use the vernacular, it is the legal qualification that you need if you're going to take out a group of fare-paying passengers or any form of commercial boating.
Right, so anyone who's going to lead any of those groups will need this qualification?
Yes, someone on board that boat, whoever's in charge of it, must hold a legal qualification, the equivalent of a driving licence.
Right. So what previous experience would you advise someone to have before they go to take this?
They should be competent in boating. We don't teach them how to drive a boat. We assume that they have that because this is all about learning how to handle a group of people with special needs on a boat. And that is very different from normal boating.
So John, who needs a boating driving licence?
Well, going back to the days when the Bow Bell ran down the Marchioness and killed an awful lot of people, immediately there was a requirement for all skippers of large passenger boats, and large is defined as more than 12 passengers on board, to have a licence. And that licence is called the Boatmaster, and it is actually awarded by the Marine and Coast Guard Agency. They do the assessments, just like a coach driver in effect. More recently, that requirement has been extended to small passenger boats, that is, with less than 13 passengers, up to and including 12, which means that all passenger boats where people pay for the boat to be skippered must have on board someone with a licence.
Right, okay.
And that has even been extended now to all commercial craft. The definition of commercial being slightly complicated.
Yes. So it's by law now?
It is a legal requirement now that if you take money off people to provide them with a boat and a skipper, then that skipper must be qualified.
Right. So once people have booked their course, what do they know that the course actually entails?
Well, the duration is either 2 days or 2.5 days, depending upon whether it's residential or non-residential. Sometimes they're held on the boats.
Right.
And there's a great deal of practical work. That does not mean that people should come who don't have experience.
Right.
We are assuming that everyone who comes is an experienced steerer and knows how to handle a boat.
Right.
Because the main element of the course is to encourage how to operate a boat with the special circumstances of having persons with disabilities or other disadvantages on board. Bear in mind that this is a national qualification. It qualifies you to drive any kind of boat on any kind of waterway.
Right.
So we have to cover a wide range of circumstances. You could have 12 boisterous scouts on the Arun Calder meeting a huge tanker barge, or you could be on the Wey or the Basingstoke, where the most you will meet is a canoe during the day.
So it's ensuring you're prepared for anything.
Absolutely. And what to do under circumstances. For example, running aground is very common.
Yeah.
And yet, inevitably, you see people reaching for poles.
Yeah.
And that should be the last thing that they try. So we're polishing boat handling skills, but we're also covering boat management skills, particularly with special interest groups on board. Oh, the majority of boaters will not need a licence, at least in the foreseeable future. Private boaters on their own boats, hire boaters who've hired a boat, timeshare boaters, they're all exempt from these regulations. The regulations only apply to people who are operating a business.
I see, yeah. John, thank you so much for coming out today and speaking to us about the CCBM, and I hope it inspires a few more people to undertake the qualification.
I do too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I'm here at the Thames and Kennet Marina, just outside Reading in Berkshire. It's a kind of two-in-one marina, partly for cruisers, partly for barges, and has 450 moorings in total. It's a fairly new site and part of the Ting Dean Group, so there's high expectations and I can't wait to find out more. Lee, tell us a little bit about the history of the marina.
The marina was moved to its current location in 2003, where it went undergone quite a lot of expansion and new facilities come in place, where we've got over 450 berths now, catering from narrow boats to Dutch barges, from day boats to ocean-going cruisers. So we've got a real good mixture here at Thames and Kennet.
Okay. So how did you end up at this marina?
Well, originally when we bought the boat, we were in another boatyard a little bit further down the river, but it was on the river itself as a mooring. And during the winter, the river comes up, boat's either taken out or you've got to keep going and checking the ropes and doing various other bits and pieces, whereas here we're all on floating pontoons. So you can moor your boat, literally forget about it. So it's a good, safe environment to keep it, really.
So how did you end up choosing this marina?
Well, it was a bit of an emergency, really.
Oh, right, okay.
We went up to Abingdon and we had a really freak storm, and the whole of the Thames flooded. And we were coming through like white torrent, wasn't it?
Like whitewater rafting rather than
Goodness
cruising.
me.
And everything was flooded, all the banks was flooded, and the locks, we went through 2 locks where they just opened the doors, and the levels the same both sides. And we got to Reading and we realised that we wasn't going to be able to get under any more bridges. So we darted in here really out of just, we needed somewhere to be rescued, and we moored up here, and we've stayed here ever since.
Yes.
Where can people cruise to from this marina?
Well, a nice little sedate pace. You're looking about 2.5 to 3 hours down to Henley. Obviously you've got the regatta down there in the summer months. Heading further inland, you're looking about 5 days to Lechlade, or directly opposite the marina entrance is the access onto the Kennington Avon Canal, and you're looking about 2 weeks to Bath.
Fantastic. And what about from on land? Where can they go to from here?
Well, local events, obviously we've got the Henley Regatta, we've got the Reading Music Festivals, we've got Championship football at the Majesty Stadium, to go and exercise the wallet. We've got the Oracle Shopping Centre.
Can you take us through the facilities that there are here?
Well, we've got water and electricity on each pontoon, which we plug our boats into. We don't necessarily use the water just for washing or filling the boat up. But here at Tingdin, here around Reading, Kennet and Reading, we've got the little boaters bar at the end, which is quite good if you've had a good day's work and you want a beer. Or weekends they do a little breakfast and things like this, so people who are working on the boats can do that. Got the little chandelier, which has got lots of bits in it.
Yeah.
There's showers, 24/7, toilets, heated in the winter. There's a laundrette, a laundry room with a big washing machine and a clothes dryer in there. And there's 2 sections to the marina. There's a narrowboat section, and there's also a cruiser section, and where the barges are, the Dutch barges and the wide beams. So
We're lucky here because we've got a restaurant, like a bistro, and they have club nights and
Quiz
pool
nights, music nights.
Yeah, so
quite active.
They keep it trying to keep something going.
fresh running water every day. We've got mains, which is run by a meter. And there's rubbish, there's plenty of space to put your rubbish, and the marina's a very pretty marina. It's nice and quiet, apart from the trains as you can hear in the background. You get, but no, it's a lovely place to be.
This winter we're expanding our internet-based electricity metering system, which will allow boat owners to keep a much tighter control on their electricity usage on board. It will send them a message when they're running low, and enable them to top up remotely without actually visiting their boats at all.
Brilliant. And plans and things for the Olympics, which you're pretty near.
Yes, we've got the Paralympics and Olympic events taking place at the nearby Dorney Lake, and they're doing the sprint kayak and obviously the rowing.
So there's quite a lot of facilities here. Are there any improvements that you could suggest?
Everyone that uses a trolley to take their stuff to the boat, as we've done today, the deal is you're supposed to take it back to the park so it's ready for the next person. And they have been trying to tighten up on that, haven't they? Because there have been spells when the trolleys have just disappeared. You've arrived and there aren't any.
Right.
People have taken them down the ends of various pontoons and not brought them back.
Anything that they could improve on or that they're missing?
I think probably, if I was to be really critical, a better chandlery.
Yes, that's quite restricted.
Yeah, it's. They used to have the office and the chandlery where the bar is, where now the bar is much bigger than it used to be, and the chandlery is much smaller.
Right.
Obviously, they're cramped for space, but the chandlery would be an asset if it was bigger.
So bearing all that in mind, how would you rate it in terms of value for money here?
Fairly good. Going on other marinas, I don't think we're a million miles away from everybody, all the other top marinas, and it's a 5 gold anchor marina. So they've said it's one of the best places to be. So
I don't think it's bad if you look at the prices of other marinas. I mean, we keep them in the water here rather than taking them out. We have got the facility to take them out and take them down in the marina and take them out, and they will store them for you.
Right.
I've never really had to bother because I don't have that much repair work to do
Yeah.
on the boat because it's relatively new. But I mean, some of the people have got lots of work cleaning bottoms and whatever,
Yeah.
and they can offer that facility.
Boating is very, very expensive, and quite honestly, we've found a difference over the last 2 or 3 years where you can go out now and the river is pretty slack. You know, the lock keepers will tell you that their numbers are down, and it's not how it used to be, and that's all down to cost and the diesel and keeping it sort of how it should be. So to answer your question truthfully, we would like it cheaper, but then you've got to think to yourself, well, they're in it for a business and they charge what the going rate is, and if you've got a boat then you've got to pay it.
So it's a thumbs up for the Thames and Kennet Marina in Reading. Whether you're fleeing a flooding river or just travelling through the area, they're well worth a look.
Well, that's all we've got time for in this episode of UK Boating. But join us again next time for yet more boating, and do leave your thoughts and comments on Facebook and Twitter, as we love to hear from you. Until next time, happy cruising.